Joining me now is California Congressman Jimmy Gomez, who serves on the Ways and Means Committee. Welcome back to the show, Congressman. So in addition to sending troops to Memphis, the Washington Post reports the administration has a plan to send 1,000 National Guard troops to Louisiana cities. Question, was Los Angeles a successful test case for these actions?
I don't think so. They spent over $120 million sending in the National Guard as well as the Marines. Last I heard, there was 200 National Guards individuals still here. And here's the thing. It doesn't work if you're not doing it in collaboration with local law enforcement, which we did not ask for the National Guards. It doesn't work if you're not doing it in collaboration with the state government. It has to be a partnership. But also, this is outside the bounds of custom and practice. This is not something that should be forced upon people. This is extremely dangerous because once it's normalized and they do it not only here in LA, Memphis, Louisiana, Washington, all over, then the National Guards are coming to a city near you. In your hometown, you'll see these troops, not based on statistics or facts, but based on the whims of a president who wants to act like a tough guy and act like he's actually doing something about crime when he's not.
This week, the Supreme Court gave ICE permission to continue immigration sweeps in Los Angeles using its 4-part test to question people. And the critics say it allows federal agents to racially profile individuals. Justice Sonia Sotomayor wrote in her dissent, "We should not have to live in a country where the government can seize anyone who looks Latino, speaks Spanish, and appears to work a low-wage job." What's your response, and how will this affect your constituents?
This is a straight up slap in the face to every Latino that lives in the United States. And that's because, they want Latinos to become assimilated, to become part of our country, to become Americans and be proud of it, which there are. People have fought in almost every single one of our conflicts. And now you're saying, okay, you look Latino, well, we're going to question if you're a citizen. If you don't speak perfect English, we're going to question if you're a citizen or should be here. If you are working a minimum wage job, doing jobs that most Americans wouldn't want to do, then we're going to question if you're a citizen. We find that completely offensive. We find that it has opened up a Pandora's box of going after other people. My mother, she has been in this country for decades. She is a U.S. citizen. Is her Spanish or is her English, decent? Yeah, she can get by, but it's broken English. She speaks primarily Spanish. She worked as a laundry room attendant. And you know what? Under their rules, she could be questioned about her citizenship. Well, that's what I found insulting. And that's what a lot of, I would say, people of Latino descent find insulting, because there are people who are laying their lives on the line for our country, and then their parents and their siblings and even themselves can be questioned. I think it's a bad move. I think it should be considered unconstitutional, and I think it's going to be remembered as one of the worst decisions that the Supreme Court has made.
So the LA Times reports that a 36-year-old Pasadena resident from Tunisia was detained by ICE despite being in the process of petitioning to stay in the country. Rami Othmane has a brain tumor and endured 13 days of dehumanizing conditions at a Los Angeles ICE facility. You visited that facility last month, though after Othmane was moved to an Arizona ICE center before ultimately being released on about $20,000 bail. What can you tell us about his treatment and what you saw at that Los Angeles ICE center?
Well, first, his treatment is just unacceptable. Everybody, no matter if they're documented or not, should be treated with respect, and also when it comes to their health and well-being. But here's the thing. When we went to visit, it was after we gave them 2 weeks' notice. We went to the same facility. It's B18 in downtown LA. It's only supposed to hold individuals for 12 hours, because there's no beds, there's no privacy. It's just these holding cells. So it's supposed to be you get processed and then you get moved out. The agent that was there, he told us, well, we got a waiver to go past the 12 hours to 72 hours, but nobody's been kept here longer than 72 hours. They lie. It's like when anytime you ask them, they lie. And when we were there, it was completely cleared out. What we heard reports is that they started sending people to other holding facilities, like in Santa Ana to Adelanto, so that when we got there, it was completely clean. It was nobody was there, which was the weirdest thing I ever seen. Because in my knowledge, asking people who are attorneys that work with clients at that facility, they said that's never the case. It's never completely empty. And when we're there was two people. One that was talking to somebody from the Consul General of Mexico, and the other one was in a holding cell. They lie. And that's why we need to do real congressional oversight to see what is the truth, right? In the end, they have to do their job, but they shouldn't be lying to the American public about it. They need to be forthright and follow the law.
Or to lawmakers who are just doing oversight. I have one last question for you, sir, quickly. Democrats today restoring billions of dollars in Affordable Care Act tax credits is the minimum price for their vote to avoid a government shutdown October 1. You have more than 22 million lower-income Americans who receive these subsidies. And NBC News reports a couple who pays, for example, $278 a month for health insurance, they're going to see their premium go up to as much as $1,800 on January 1st. Is restoring these subsidies worth funding the government and President Trump's agenda? Do Democrats have a strong negotiating position to avoid a government shutdown?
I think that Democrats are really concerned about these individuals, these families that are going to be impacted by these astronomical increases. They won't be able to keep their health insurance. And then you have at the same time the big, beautiful bill where Trump guts Medicaid, makes it more difficult, cuts food assistance. And then all of a sudden they're asked to kind of bear the burden of higher costs because of Trump's dumb tariffs that are driving up the cost of living everywhere. So this economic pain is being felt. And Democrats, what we're trying to figure out is how to make sure that it doesn't even get worse. People are struggling. And the president who said he was going to lower prices on day one has failed and actually is driving our economy, our American family off a cliff because he doesn't know how to manage our federal government. So we will try to fight for working people no matter what.
Okay. California Congressman Jimmy Gomez, thank you so much for weighing in.